Hi, I'm Jan Muller. Thank you for purchasing the HomeRight Paint Stick Roller Painting System. You've joined the hundreds of thousands of people who have found the easy, quick, and neat way to paint. Now, whether or not you purchase the HomeRight Paint Stick, the Quick Painter, Quick Mask, or other HomeRight accessories, I want to show you some tips and techniques that will make your project as easy as possible. You'll even have fun, so let's get started. To begin with, move any furniture away from the walls and cover it with the drop cloth. Also remove the pictures and mirrors from the walls, turn off the electricity, and then remove the switch plates. Carry a plastic bag with you. That way you can put the switch plates and the screws in it. Before you begin painting, you're going to want to prepare your walls so the paint will adhere properly. Now, all you need to do is just take a bucket of water and some TSP and just wash the walls. Starting from the bottom up is the easiest way. Now, if you have any special concerns about walls like crayons, marks, or anything else, consult a paint professional. Now, once the walls are completely dry, you can putty any holes. All you have to do is just take your handy painter's tool and some putty and put it right in the hole like that. Let it dry and you're ready to begin painting. Also, I recommend that if you're going to paint the walls and the ceiling the same color, remember that the ceiling is going to look darker, so take that into account. Also, a good way to find out how the color is going to look on your wall before you paint the whole room, buy just a quart. Bring it home and paint just a portion of the room. Then you can take a look at it under incandescent or fluorescent light, because it does change from the color chip to your room. As soon as you've done that, you're ready to begin painting. Ready to paint tips. Finish the trim first. Paint or stain before doing the walls. Mix gallons together to get the same color. Have a damp rag available for any drips or spills. If using old paint, strain first to get rid of any impurities. Now, here comes the really fun part, using your paint stick. Now, in your kit, you'll find the paint can lid cover and fill tube. To assemble it, just take the skinny end of the fill tube and put it through the hole in the cover. Then you'll put this right into the paint can. See, that fill tube goes all the way down to the bottom of the paint can. To assemble your paint stick, take the roller frame assembly and put it right inside the nozzle. Now notice that this little flange does not butt up against the nozzle. Just put it in as far as it'll go and then just tighten it down using the collar. Now we're going to fill the paint stick. Take your can of paint, and I'm using a piece of the Quick Mask Poly down here just to protect my carpet. There's a fill tube right here. Just place the fill valve on top of the fill tube. Pull back on the handle, and you'll fill the paint stick with 18 ounces of paint. When you take the paint stick off the fill tube, that valve snaps shut automatically. Now, to begin painting, go over to a wall, and we want to take the paint from the paint stick up through the roller frame into the roller cover. To do that, I'm going to push on the handle and push the paint up into the roller while I'm going back and forth like this. In just a few seconds, you'll start to see the paint coming out on the roller cover. See that? Just keep pushing on the handle and you'll load that up with paint. Once you have it loaded up with paint, you can begin painting. Now, while you're painting, you want to keep pushing on the handle, and it'll keep bringing paint up into the roller cover. When you've run out of paint in the paint stick handle, just go back to your paint and refill. Now, because the paint stick has such a long handle, you can do 8-foot, 9-foot, 10-foot ceilings and work without a ladder right above your doors. You'll always know when you need to add more paint to the roller, because you'll start to get spaces in between the paint. You'll start to see the wall. So just push on the handle and it'll give you more paint. Now, I'm not done painting the room yet, but when you are finished, you'll want to put the paint that's left in the paint stick back in the paint can. Here's how you do it. Just put the fill valve on top of the fill tube, and instead of pulling on the paint stick handle to fill it with paint, you push on the paint stick handle, and that brings all of the paint right back into the paint can. Now, when you're ready to clean up at the end of the day, there's still going to be some paint inside the roller cover. You want to get that out before you clean it. So all you do is just put your thumb over the fill valve and pull back on the handle. It pulls the paint that was in there into the handle. Put this on top of the fill tube, push, and you push all of that paint right back into the paint can. It's that easy. Now, I've got some tips for you on how to use the paint stick. Before you load your paint stick with paint, check the roller cover for any impurities. Any extra lint, take that off. It'll make it easier for you to paint with. Also, you want to make sure that you have the fill tube in the right place on the floor so that you can fill the paint stick correctly. I'll show you what I mean. If I have it on this side, I can't get the fill tube down there because of the roller frame. So, put it on the side opposite of me, and that way I can just put it down. Okay? Now, when you pull back on the handle, sometimes when you pull back, you'll just start sucking some air instead of paint. You see that? Here's a way to correct that. Take some petroleum jelly and just put it on the fill tube. That'll help the fill valve on the paint stick seat properly. Now, you also have a roller rest right here on the lid. That means when you have a phone call or you want to take lunch, just put this down and you can let it rest there. Now remember that paint is a liquid, so if there's a lot of paint on your roller cover, it will begin to drip, so take note of that. If you're going to take a long break for up to 10 or 12 hours, like overnight, here's how you can save the roller cover from going dry. Just take some plastic wrap, put the roller cover right here, and wrap the plastic wrap around the roller cover. Take another piece of plastic wrap and wrap it around the fill valve. You can set this right on the roller rest. Lastly, take some masking tape and put that on your fill tube. When you come back the next morning to continue painting, they'll be ready to go. In a typical situation, how do you know how much paint to apply? With the paint stick, we make this easy. The paint stick holds 18 ounces of paint, and when the roller is primed, there is paint in there too. When the paint stick is full, you should be able to paint an 8-foot by 8-foot wall with just one fill. If you are getting a polka dot effect, this means you are not applying enough paint. If you have measured an 8-foot area and are running out of paint, this means you are applying too much. You'll know you're putting too much paint on the wall if the roller starts to slide or skate on the wall. It's just as easy to paint your ceilings as it is to paint the walls. Just take your paint stick and the spatter shield. Now, when you're painting your ceiling, if you have a smooth ceiling, you can use the smooth roller. If it's a rough ceiling, like I have here, a textured ceiling, I'm using the rough roller. And also another tip, ceiling paint is thinner than the paint that we put on the wall. So if you're painting your ceiling with ceiling paint, I recommend that you use a drop cloth, because remember, you're still working with paint. Now it's simple. I've loaded the paint stick, I've primed the paint stick. Now I just take the spatter shield and I put it on the end and snap it on this end, just like that. Then I can rotate this and use it any way I want. This is a really great way to be able to paint your wall and not get any paint up on the ceiling. Now I'm going to use it to paint the ceiling, so all I have to do is just turn it like this and go right up to the ceiling and start painting. Just go right across your ceiling, and that fast we can paint the ceiling without getting any spatter or texture. on us or the floor. Now, how are we going to paint right up into the corner? It's easy. We're going to use this part of the spatter shield as a guide. Put it right up next to this wall and paint. That way we can get right up into the corner and paint right along the wall without getting any paint on our other painted wall. It's that easy. Painting the paint stick and the quick painter is just as easy as painting with them. Now I'm in the laundry room because we're going to be cleaning a water-based or latex paint. Now, HomeRight makes two great cleaning accessories, the roller cleaner and the handy painter's tool. The roller cleaner attaches right to the faucet of your laundry tub or to a hose. Now you want to check the ordinance in your local area as far as paint cleanup. Okay, so I've got that ready to go. Now all we have to do is to clean the paint stick lid and fill tube. So just pop that off. And I'm going to use my quick painter to strip off the extra paint that's on the fill tube. And then just put that right down into a tub of warm soapy water. Next, I want to strip off the excess paint that's on the roller cover. So using the handy painter's tool, put that right around the roller frame and just press down, and it strips all the paint that's left on the roller cover right down into your paint can. Now when you get down towards the end, just pop it off. We're finished with that tool, so it goes into the water. Now what we have to do is to flush out the paint stick. Put it right down into the tub of water. Pull back on the handle like you're filling it with paint, and instead you're filling it with water. Push it back through, and that flushes out the paint stick and the roller frame assembly. Do this about 5 or 6 times. Now all I have to do is just take this out of the water and just unscrew it right here, so you can see that, and then just wiggle that back and forth, and I just stick that right back down in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to clean this by using the roller cleaner. So I turn this on, see the water coming out, then all I have to do is just put this up and down like this, and it cleans the rest of the paint off of the roller. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to tap it right here on the end cap. You don't want to tap it on this black bushing ring. So what you want to do is just tap it right here on the end cap. Just take this off. And now I'm going to show you how you tilt it. So you want to tilt it on an angle like this. And that's going to pop off the end cap right here. So I'm going to tilt this and I'm going to push right here so that it pops off the end cap. And then when you want to come back here, all you have to do is wiggle just like that, and that pops off this one. Isn't that easy, quick, and simple? Then I put the roller frame here, and I'm going to pull out the fill tube. So all you want to do is make sure that you clean the fill tube. Isn't that a wonderful thing? And then you can also finish cleaning the inside of the cover. That goes down into here, so you can clean the inside of the cover. The last thing you want to do is to reattach the roller frame and flush it out just a couple of times. And then before you put it away, make sure that you let it completely dry. If you use an oil-based paint, you'll want to clean the paint stick using paint thinner or mineral spirits. Never use anything stronger. Take off the roller cover and the spacer, clean that with the mineral spirits, and then find yourself a tall can. Fill it with mineral spirits. Tape off the two top holes of the roller frame. Place the roller frame down into the can, put your thumb on the valve, and pull back on the handle. It will pull the mineral spirits into the handle and through the roller frame, cleaning it out. Gently push on it and push all of the air and mineral spirits back into the can. Do this about 4 or 5 times until it's completely clean. Then take the roller frame and handle over to a tub with hot soapy water, rinse it out, and you're ready to reassemble. Once your paint stick is clean and dry, it's time to reassemble it. However, before you do, you'll want to take the handle apart and lubricate the 2 O-rings that are on the inside. It's easy to do that. All you have to do is just pull back hard on the handle. This collar will come off. Now, if the collar doesn't come off, it's just stuck. Here's how you loosen it. Just put it down on a hard floor surface and take your foot and just move back and forth. You might hear a little crackling sound. It's okay. That's loosening it. Just pick it up and just pull back like that, and it comes right off. Now, just take a little bit of petroleum jelly and lubricate the O-rings. Now, if there's some paint there, some dried paint, take a paper towel or a rag and clean the paint off. Take some petroleum jelly and place it right in between the 2 O-rings. That way the O-rings will keep the petroleum jelly lubricating them. Now, to reassemble it, just take it and put it right back in together. Now, be careful when you're doing this because you don't want to push and pinch. See how I'm pinching the O-ring? You don't want to do that. It'll tear it. So just take your time and the O-rings will slip right on just like that. Check it, make sure they're not pinched, and just push it back together again. Put the collar back on, just slide it on at the end and push it on hard, and that way you're ready to start painting again. You'll also want to lubricate the valve. Take a little petroleum jelly and put it right in here, just like that. Now, to reassemble the roller frame assembly, once it's dry, first take the inner end cap, and again you'll see a rubber seal, a little petroleum jelly, slide it on. Take the foam tube or spacer, slide that on the roller frame. Take the clean roller cover, slide that on top, and then take a little petroleum jelly, put it right here, and put on your outside end cap. Push it together, you'll hear it click. Now you're ready to paint. Put this right onto the paint stick. Oh, and by the way, this flange will not be flush against the end here. Okay, so you don't have to be concerned about that. All you have to do is just push this in as far as it'll go, just like that. And take the collar down, turn it on tight. You're ready to paint. Well, we've finished, and I hope you have as much fun using the paint stick system as we did here. Now, if you have any extra questions, we pretty much covered everything, but you'll find some additional information in your owner's manual and an 800 number on the back for customer service. And by the way, here's some accessories for your paint stick. Quick Mask is a great product to protect anything that you don't want paint on. This comes in poly and in paper. This is the poly with masking tape. All you have to do is just go right down to your baseboard and attach the masking tape right to the baseboard as I'm doing here. Now when you get out right to the end, it's got a built-in cutter right here. So just hold the poly in one hand and tear off the container. Pull out the poly, and you're ready to start painting your wall. If you want to do trim and you want to protect the wall, use the paper Quick Mask. This is also great for protecting things like lampshades, fireplaces, tops of door jambs. You can use the Quick Mask paper or poly anywhere. to do your cutting in, trimming, or edging, you'll use the quick painter. Now, it's designed to be able to be used in several different ways. So just take that off, and now we're going to load the quick painter. So I'm using the paint from my 1 gallon can. I'm going to stick the nozzle of the quick painter a ½ inch down into the paint, just like that. I'm going to press the trigger and then pull back on the handle while I've held the trigger down. That loads it with paint. Now, before I take the quick painter out of the paint can, release the trigger. If you don't do that, you could have paint coming out outside of the paint can. So remember to release the trigger before you take the quick painter out of the paint can. Next, you will want to wipe off the nozzle. So just take a paper towel and wipe the nozzle clean, just like that. Now we'll put our paint pad on. I like it this way because I use my thumb to control it. And now we're going to bring the paint from the quick painter up onto the paint pad. Safest way to do it is just to use a paper towel, cover this, and just tap this, and you'll hear the paint coming up. And you'll actually feel it too. You see it starting to come up just like that? So just load that up with paint and go over to the wall and start cutting in. Now, if you notice here, we have 2 wings on each side of the painting pad. That's to use as a guide when you go right up against your window or door frame or along your baseboard. You can also tilt the quick painter in just like that if you want to get right up next to it. But the truth is, that little 1/16 of an inch space, you'd never see it. So I'm just going to use that as a guide. And all I have to do is just press on my trigger and go up and down until I've got enough paint on the paint pad and I've loaded the paint pad up just like this. Then we're ready to paint. Now, when you're painting around your windows, your baseboards, before this completely dries, it's a good idea to then start using the paint stick and paint the rest of the wall. That way you get an even blend of color. And remember, the quick painter is just like learning how to use a brush. There's a learning curve to it. But as soon as you master that, there's no stopping you. Here's how to clean the quick painter. Scrape off any excess paint back into the paint can from the pad, and then just twist off the top. This goes right into your sink of soapy water, so you can wash it. Now we have some extra paint here in the quick painter. So point it down into the paint can and press the trigger. And that releases the rest of the paint back into the paint can. Press on the handle right up the top to force the paint out. Once all the paint is out, just release the trigger, and now we can flush this out. So go right down into your tub of water. I'm going to pull back, press on the trigger, pull back on the handle, and fill it with water. Release the trigger before I take it out of the water. Now, remember to point this down so that you clean back into the sink. Just like that. Let's do that again. Put it into the water, press the trigger, pull back on the handle, release the trigger, take it out of the water. Press the trigger to put the water back in the sink. Do it one more time. You can also shake it around like this. Point it down. And that's cleaned out. Clean your pad. Remember that it's got a neoprene backing, so just clean the paint out of that, let it dry, and you're ready to reassemble it. Now, to finish cleaning the quick painter and to lubricate it, you'll need a straight slot screwdriver. First, you'll want to take off the trigger. Just pull on the side of the trigger, right here, and then pull on this side, and it will pop right out. You'll want to take off the nozzle. You'll use your screwdriver for that. Turn it towards you so that the nozzle is pointing towards you. Take the screwdriver and gently depress and twist. You can see how it releases the nozzle from the side. Turn it over and do the other one. And the nozzle comes right out. That takes out your nozzle and the spring. To take out the handle, do exactly the same thing. Put the screwdriver in the slot with the handle facing towards you and twist the screwdriver. You see how it releases the handle right here? Turn it and then do the other side also. Pull this out and you're ready to clean and lubricate it. Now check and make sure that this O-ring is clean. If it's not, if there's any paint on it, take a paper towel or a cloth and clean off the paint. Take a little petroleum jelly and lubricate that O-ring. Check and make sure that there's no paint here. If there is, just clean it off. Take your nozzle, and as you can see, there's a valve here. It's black. Make sure it's clean. Line up the wing with this wide space and just slide it on, just like that. To reassemble, it's easy to do. All you have to do is just take the handle, place it inside, push it all the way in, line up the two clips with the holes, and close it. Take the spring, put it inside, take the nozzle, and line up the nozzle. It can only go in one way. Can't go in that way. It has to go in this way. Slide it together, and it clicks into place. Take the trigger, place the 2 feet right into these slots, click it into place. Also, lubricate this little O-ring right here with a little petroleum jelly. And here's some additional products and accessories. For the paint stick, replacement roller covers are available in 2 sizes, a 3/8 inch for smooth and semi-smooth surfaces and a 3/4 inch for rough surfaces such as textured ceilings and stucco. The pail feeder is designed for 5-gallon containers but will fit almost any size by locking onto the side. Here's a tip. Cut the tube into a V to make it easier to feed paint to the paint stick. The paint pivot pad works on smooth and semi-smooth surfaces from virtually any angle. It's great for painting lap siding. And use the stain pivot pad when applying stains and sealers. Great for decks, cedar siding, docks, and concrete. To make prep work easy, use Quick Mask. The exterior Quick Mask is a pre-taped poly drop cloth with cloth masking tape which is UV and water resistant. Great for covering outside windows and doors. The paper Quick Mask works great to protect trim work when painting walls, and use the poly Quick Mask to cover inside doors, windows, fireplaces, light fixtures. Save time. Paint both sides of a corner at once using this handy corner pad attachment for the Quick Painter. Use the brush attachment to paint trim and other hard-to-reach areas. Thanks for watching our video. Next time you're looking for do-it-yourself products, look to HomeRight.